Today's topic is relationship between maximum directivity and maximum effective area. Okay, so we are going to establish a relationship between the maximum directivity and maximum effective area. So what does it mean? Maximum directivity. So directivity we are considering while the antenna is radiating, and obviously it is a far field parameter. So we have a transmitter, we have a receiver. So receiver will have certain area by which it can able to receive the radiation. So depending upon the total physical area, how much is responsible for the optimum reception, that will be depending upon the effective area. So we are having a receiver, transmitter, we are having a receiver, and they have been separated by distance. So let us take a transmitter. Let us consider it is connected within transmitter. So in the same way we are having a receiver. So it is connected with a receiver section. This is the direction of propagation. Because this is your transmitter, this is your receiver. They are separated by a distance. Let us consider this distance is some r. Okay. This transmitter will have certain effective aperture or effective, it have certain directivity. Same for this receiver, it will also have certain effective area and it will have certain directivity. Okay, so we are having a transmitter, we are having a receiver. These are the specification of this transmitter and receiver, and they are separated by a distance r. So what we are considering, let us say that an isotropic radiator is an ideal source that radiates equally in all directions, but in practice it does not exist. It provides a convenient isotropic reference. It provides a certain reference only for comparison, which compares to other antennas. So we didn't have any kind of practical isotropic source. We consider this source only for the reference purpose. Okay, only for the reference purpose. So let us consider this transmitter is somewhat symmetric radiation it gives, somewhat it is having certain symmetric radiation, and its power which is been observed at certain distant point, that will be the function of both theta and phi, because it is radiating. Let us consider it is radiating in every direction. So obviously it will have the dependency upon the elevation plane, it will have the dependency upon the azimuthal plane. So we can say whatever the pointing vector we are going to observe, that is the power which we are going to observe at receiver side, it will have the function of theta and phi both. So from this transmitter, this P rad, it will be the closed surface area, radiation density, let us consider it is W naught, into ds. Okay, so this W naught can be written as 0 to 2 pi, 0 to pi in a particular direction. Let us consider radially outward. For the sphere, for a spherical structure, it is radially outward, and it is the function of r. And what is this ds? It is also incremental surface area. It is in the direction of AR only. So it is r square sin theta d theta d phi. I hope you can remember this one. We have seen for the beam area this ds or dA. So from that, if we are going to find out the solid angle d omega, so it is dA by r square. So r square will get cancelled. So we can say P rad, it is 4 pi r square into W naught. So how we have considered? We have considered that the radiation exists in every direction. For phi is equals to 0 to 2s pi, for theta is equals to 0 to pi. So our radiator is considered as a symmetrical radiator, or you can say isotropic radiator in every direction. Now, what is this power density? The power density that is this W naught, it is in the radially outward some value. So what is this W naught? Let us give this one as prime. So we can put this W naught from here, that will be 4 pi r square P rad by 4 pi r square. That is the radiation density, power density, right? So we can say this W naught, it is P rad by 4 pi r square. It is the 4 pi r square is the total surface area, watt per meter square. So it is the power density or radiation power density. So what does it mean? This power is uniformly distributed over the surface of a sphere of radius r, which is uniformly distributed over the surface of a sphere of radius r. So this is the condition for the isotropic radiator. So what does it mean? This is the power density in case of the transmitter is an isotropic radiator. So we can found this kind of radiation power density in every direction on the surface of the sphere. In each of the direction, in every direction on the surface of the sphere, we can found this power density or radiation power density. Now, after realizing this is the condition for an ideal source, that is an isotropic source, let us come to our practical condition, that is the transmitter is not at all an isotropic one. It will has the radiation in a particular direction only. So from this we can apply our practical condition. We can come to this practical condition from this ideal source, which is the isotropic one. Now here this antenna 1, let us give it is antenna 1, it is antenna 2. Antenna 1 is used as a transmitter and antenna 2 as a receiver for this case. Now, if antenna 1 is a isotropic, then its radiation power density we have seen at a distance of this r. This r we can find out its radiation power density at a distance. Let us take this capital R for our situation which we are considering here, because this transmitter is throwing power which is supposed to be received at a distance of R by some receiver which is antenna 2. Okay, so at a distance R would be W naught is equals to what we have seen previously, P rad. So for our transmitter, let us consider that power level is PT, transmitted power, by 4 pi r square. So what is this PT? PT is the total radiated power. Total radiated power. Now, coming to practical situation, if the antenna 1 is not a isotropic and it is having certain directivity, since antenna 1 has the directivity dt, then actual power density is Wt is equals to this W naught into dt. The fraction of this will be the now radiation power density at a distance of r, because it is depending upon the directivity dt. So what we can write? Pt into dt by 4 pi r square. Fine. Now this is the transmitted power or transmitted radiation power density. Now what will be the power collected by the receiver? So power which is get collected, the power which is get collected by this receiver, it will be depending upon the aperture area of this antenna. How much power is collected or captured by this receiver from the transmitted power? It will be depending upon how much aperture area is having for that receiver, because this is the transmitted power. So out of this, how much is received? The power collected by the receiver and transferred to the connected load, that is receiving section, transferred to the load, that is PR is equals to Wt into AR. So what is Wt? It is Pt dt by 4 pi r square into AR. So this is the amount of power which will be collected by the receiver. Now let us think in the opposite direction or opposite way, that our antenna 2 is the transmitter, this antenna is the transmitter and 1 as a receiver. A reverse case, if antenna 2 used as a transmitter and 1 as a receiver, so we can take out the opposite case, right? So this one will be, for that case, this one will be WR, right? So that will be depending upon the directivity of this antenna 2. So what is the directivity we have considered? That is DR, right? And the aperture area, that will be depending upon the this antenna, because this antenna going to receive the power, right? So what we can say, that this one will be dr into at, right? We are having the received power and we are having the transmitted power, same thing, only the change will be the physical parameter of the antenna. Now it will be the directivity of the receiver and that will be the aperture of the transmitter, because this transmitter is acting as the receiver, right? So what we can say, that is DRAT, directivity of this receiver. Why we are considering this directivity? Because now this antenna 2, which was actually as a receiver, it is acting as a transmitter right now. So this one will be PR, this PR by PT into 4 pi r square. We have taken the ratio. The thing is that this is PR by PT into 4 pi r square. So what we can write, therefore this part it can be as dt into AR. This PR by PT into 4 pi r square, it is same as dt into AR. Therefore we can write from this equation, let us give equation number, this is 1, this is 2, it is 3. We can write from equation 2 and 3, that is dt into AR is equals to dr into AT. So for this case, what we have considered, the physical parameter will remain same, only the thing is that the function is changing. This receiver is acting as a transmitter and this transmitter is acting as a receiver, only this is the difference, but the physical parameter will not change. Okay, so from this what we can say, we can write for this transmitter, that is dt by AT is equals to dr by AR. The ratio of directivity to aperture of transmitter, that will be same as the ratio of directivity to aperture. Separate way, if we think either way, it will satisfy this expression. Now if directivity of antenna increases, then its effective area also increases. If directivity increase, its effective area will also needs to increase to satisfy this value, right? Because this is the ratio. If directivity of an antenna increases, its effective area also increases. Right? So we can say the maximum directivity will leads to maximum effective area. Same for the both antenna. Where this AT suffix M and AR suffix M are the maximum effective area. And DOT and DOR are the maximum directivity. Now, if this antenna 1 is the isotropic one, let us take this case again. If antenna 1 is the isotropic antenna. Then what we can say, this transmitter antenna having the directivity of 1 because it is radiating in every direction. Then DOT is equals to 1. Then the maximum effective area will be this AT suffix M will be ARM by DOR. So why we have considered this antenna 1 again as a isotropic antenna, because in the far field almost every direction is having the proper receiver. If the receiver is connected, from every direction we can get the radiation, because we are working for a large distance. So at that distance the antenna which is acting as a receiver, it can able to receive. So when the transmitter is transmitting, it is not at all been considered as a transmitting in a particular region, while in the far field, quite longer distance, it can has the transmission or radiation almost in every direction. So if we consider this antenna is almost near to an isotropic one, then the transmitter antenna is consisting of this effective area that will be depending upon the effective area of the receiver as well as the directivity of the receiver. So what we consider that our antenna 1 is an isotropic one, means it transmits in every direction or almost in every direction. So whatever the antenna is connected in the receiver side, whatever the antenna is connected, it can able to receive. So if the receiver can able to receive in almost every direction, we can say our antenna 1, which is a transmitter, it is almost a isotropic one. So being the transmitter should a isotropic, so we need the aperture of that transmitter of this expression. So this equation states that the maximum effective area of an isotropic source is equal to the ratio of the maximum effective area to the maximum directivity of any other source. So what is this any other source? Any other source is a receiver. So let us consider for our older days radio transmission. So whatever the location we kept this radio set in our house, it is receiving the signal in whatever location, either in the drawer or somewhere in our house. If we used to keep that radio set with the antenna which is coming out at the back side of that radio set, it can able to receive the signal. So what does it mean? The radiation is coming from every direction, almost every direction. So our antenna 1 is acting as a isotropic source, though it is not at all an ideal isotropic source, but it tends to an isotropic source. So if somewhat it is near to that isotropic source, we can say what should be the aperture we need to maintain for that isotropic radiation from the transmitter. That will depend upon the aperture of the receiver as well as the directivity. Now let us take an example. An antenna, a short dipole antenna, that any other source, what we said here, depend upon any other source as very short dipole, that is L less than lambda, whose effective area is 0.119 lambda square. So we will see how it is. And maximum directivity, it is coming out as 1.5. These are known parameter. So what will be the maximum effective area of the isotropic source if this kind of receiver was there to receive the signal from the source? Then the maximum effective area of the isotropic source is equal to by directivity, that is 0.119 lambda square by 1.5. It is coming out as lambda square by 4 pi. Okay, so we can say this receiver is having the maximum effective area of DOR into A T suffix M. It is DOR is equals to lambda square by 4 pi. Okay, so in general we can say, so this is a very short dipole. So if we are having a very short dipole, so practical antennas which are having at higher length, then we can say these are the summation of this short dipole. So whatever the characteristics this short dipole has, we can say the same characteristics we can also found for any other dipole or any other antenna, which is the combination of this short dipole, but the value may be different, but the property or characteristics will remain same. Okay, so in general we can say the maximum effective aperture AEM of any antenna is related to the maximum directivity D naught by AEM is equals to lambda naught by 4 pi is equals to D naught. So this is the relation between the, for any other source, it is for that receiver only, considering this antenna is receiving the radiation from every direction. So that is the effective area of any other source is equals to lambda naught by lambda, it is lambda square by 4 pi into D naught. Okay, so what is that? The transmitter is almost a isotropic source. The transmitter can transmit in every direction. So depending upon the directivity of the receiver, it can always receive some signal. So that directivity will give us the amount of effective area. So this lambda square by 4 pi coming from the concept that our transmitter is a isotropic source. Transmitter is a isotropic source. Transmitter is the isotropic source. Okay. So when we going to find out any relation between directivity and effective area, we need to consider, we always need to have the concept in our mind that it can receive the signal from the transmitter. Then only we can have the relation between this effective area and directivity. Considering the transmitter from which the antenna is receiving, that transmitter is transmitting in every direction. That transmitter is transmitting in every direction. By saying that, we can say this receiver or any other source is receiving the signal, and that reception will depend upon the directivity, and that will give us the effective area. So whenever we need to find out the effective area from directivity, we can use this relation, or the effective area is given, the directivity we can find out. So what is the consideration? Consideration is that this receiver is receiving the signal. Why? Because the transmitter which is used, it is radiating in almost every direction, and this lambda square by 4 pi is coming from a, you can say, basic source or base of that every other source. That is a very short dipole. So if we are having a 5 centimeter length of a transmitter or a receiver or an antenna, we can say whatever characteristic is having for a 1 centimeter antenna, we can have the same characteristics for a 5 centimeter antenna, because this 5 centimeter of antenna is the summation of each 1 centimeter antenna, but the value may be different. Clear? Any doubt on this? Anyone having any doubt? Okay, next topic is Friis transmission equation. It is almost is having the same concept what we used here. So let us take a transmitter. For this case we have considered the aperture antenna, so let us consider a dipole antenna, wire antenna. So it is having a transmitter like this. Let us consider a transmitter. This distance is R. This is your transmitter, this is your receiver. So what are the different characteristics it has? It has PT amount of transmitted power, GT is the gain, DT is the directivity, efficiency, is the ECDT. Then it has the reflection coefficient of gamma t. It has the unit vector along, that is for the polarization matching along rho t direction. Same for this receiver, it is having the power receiving of PR, GR is the gain, DR is the directivity, ECDR it is the loss, efficiency or loss, they are connected. Then gamma R the reflection coefficient, and it is having the unit along this direction. So what is this phase transmission equation states? It relates the power received to the transmitter, power received to the power transmitted by two different antennas. It relates the amount of power which is transmitted and the amount of power which is received by two different antennas. It relates the power received to the power transmitted. Power received to the power transmitted between two antennas separated by a distance. What is that distance? This R is greater than 2d square by lambda. So what is this d? D is the largest dimension of either of the antenna, where D is the largest dimension of either antenna. Now let us assume the transmitting antenna, TX antenna, is initially isotropic. If the input power at the terminals of the transmitter antenna is PT, then its isotropic power density W naught at distance R from the antenna, power density at this receiver, that is from the antenna at a distance R from the antenna, is W naught is equals to PT by 4 pi R square multiplied with the radiation efficiency ET. How much power is actually transmitted out of the power which is coming from the source which is connected to that antenna. So out of the power which is coming to the antenna, out of that how much is actually radiated, that is will be given by this ET, where ET is the radiation efficiency of the transmitter antenna. Now this is the case for the isotropic radiator, and isotropic radiator is having this efficiency, this radiation efficiency. Now if we come to a practical situation, if it is a non-isotropic transmitter antenna, if it is a non-isotropic transmitter antenna, then obviously it will have certain gain and directivity. For non-isotropic transmitter antenna, the power density in the direction, some direction, this direction, theta t, phi t, in some direction will be Wt is equals to Pt into Gt theta t phi t by 4 pi r square. So what is this gain? Gain is the same as directivity if antenna is having 100% efficiency, right? So this gain can be replaced with efficiency multiplied with the directivity. So we can write this ET multiplied with this directivity dt in particular direction. So where this gt theta t phi t is the gain and dt theta t phi t is the directivity of the transmitter antenna in the direction theta t and phi t. Now if this is the radiation power density, the power which is actually received by the antenna, that is the receiver antenna, it will depends upon the effective area. It will depend upon the effective area of the receiver. Same thing. Since the effective area AR of the receiving antenna, RX antenna, is related to, we have already seen, it is related to the directivity and multiplied with this lambda square by 4 pi. So here this directivity will also depends upon the efficiency. Related to the efficiency ER and directivity dr by AR is equals to ER into dr theta r phi r into lambda square by 4 pi. Okay. So the amount of power now collected, therefore the amount of power PR collected by the receiving antenna, that is PR is equals to, this is the aperture area. So that much of aperture, if it is multiplied with this WT, radiation density, obviously that will be the power. So because this much of power is available at the receiver side, but the receiver can only receive depending upon the aperture area. So we can write ER dr theta r phi r lambda by 4 pi into WT. So what is that? If we multiply this one here, so that one will be ET into ER lambda square dt phi t theta t phi t dr theta r phi r by 4 pi r square whole square pt multiplied by mod of rho t into rho r. So what it signifies? It signifies that polarization matching condition. If polarization matching condition exists, then only this much of power will be received, right? If polarization mismatch occurs, then that will be not having the maximum amount of receiving, maximum amount of reception. Okay, so that we need to specify this thing, that either the polarization match is carried out or not. Now the ratio of received power to the input power, that is PR by PT, that is ET into ER, lambda square dt theta t phi t dr theta r phi r by 4 pi r square whole square. So this is one. What does it mean? It is having the matching. So we can say the power received based on this equation assumes that the transmitter and receiving antenna are matched to their respective lines or loads, and polarization of the receiving antenna is same as the polarization of the transmitting antenna, or we can say the polarization of the receiving antenna is polarization matched to the impinging wave. The power received based on this equation, above equation, assumes that the transmitter and receiver antenna are matched to their respective lines or loads, and the polarization of the receiving antenna is polarization matched to the impinging wave. So PLF and polarization efficiency are unity. Okay. Now if these two factors are included, that is if we are including mismatch condition as well as PLF is not 1, if the antennas are not matched, to their respective lines or loads and polarization mismatch exist, then what we can write, this PR by PT, that will be, we need to consider this ECDT and ECDR. ECDR, these are the amount of loss, conductor loss, dielectric loss, all those things, into the reflection coefficient 1 minus gamma T whole square into 1 minus gamma R whole square, lambda by 4 pi R square whole square dt theta t phi t dr theta r phi r into this unit vectors whole square. So for reflection and polarization matched antennas aligned for maximum directional radiation and reception, so what we can say, these things will be 0, this thing will this reflection coefficient, all those things will be 0. So we can have the maximum radiation and reception. So for matching condition, for matched condition, what are the matching? These are the matching. So this one will be PR by PT will be lambda by 4 pi R square whole square GOT GOR. Why we have considered the gain? Because if the losses are 0, then the directivity will be same as the gain. So what is this lambda by 4 pi R whole square? What is this? This is the free space loss factor. This is known as free space loss factor. This is not square, this is 4 pi R only, this is 4 pi R. So from this, if we multiply this 4 pi, this one will be whole square. This is 4 pi R only. So this term lambda by 4 pi R whole square is called the free space loss factor. Okay. Same thing what we did for the relation which we have been established for the effective aperture and directivity.